Not every gentle presence brings peace. Some energies arrive cloaked in the familiar form of those you trust. A moment eventually comes when the individuals closest to your heart start to show their true nature. This isn't revealed through declarations, but through the silent language of energy, their subtle actions, and how your own inner compass reacts the moment they are near. This is not a matter of belief, but a matter of awareness, navigating unseen currents that flow through our daily connections. You know the feeling, that subtle weight in the air, the conversations that leave you feeling hollow, the wave of disquiet that washes over you after their departure. These are more than just difficult behaviors. They can be signals of a deeper imbalance. If you found yourself wondering, why do I feel less like myself around this person? Then you may be in the midst of this dynamic. In this space, we will not speak of mythical figures, but of the unconscious shadows people carry within them. Patterns that can confuse, drain, and disrupt from a place deep inside. Today, I will share 10 profound signals for recognizing these disruptive energies in your life before they cost you more than your tranquility. There are certain individuals in your path whose presence alone can deplete your inner wellspring like a vessel with an unseen crack. No harsh word is spoken, no harmful action is taken, yet you feel the drain. It is something you cannot easily explain. You enter a space feeling centered, perhaps even joyful, but after sharing time with them, your energy has receded, your inner quiet is disturbed, and your spirit feels heavy. You may try to reason with it. Perhaps it was just a challenging day for them. Perhaps you are being overly sensitive. But in the quiet depth of your being, you know something is out of harmony. These are the individuals who seldom pour into your river, but always seem to be drawing from it your focus, your time, your empathy, your vitality. The flow is always directed toward their struggles, their turmoil, their unrest. Unwittingly, you become a space for them to release their inner burdens, and they depart, leaving you to carry what was never yours. This is not merely an emotional depletion. It is a spiritual one. Your eyes may not see the exchange, but your spirit feels the imbalance. These currents often flow through those wearing the face of a friend or relative, yet beneath the surface, a deeper pattern is drawing upon your inner light. This is a form of spiritual imbalance, and they are often not conscious of their own actions. Yet, their lack of awareness does not diminish the effect on you. It is time to stop asking if you are too perceptive and start exploring why your inner guidance system sounds an alarm around certain people. That feeling is your guide. Your life force is a precious resource, and not everyone has earned the right to access it. Begin to notice how you feel in the stillness after each interaction. Do you feel more expansive or more constricted? More uplifted or more unsettled? More whole or more fractured? Unseen forces do not always announce themselves with thunder and storms. Sometimes they arrive with a gentle smile, speak in measured tones, and call you their own. But if every meeting leaves you feeling more distant from your own peace, your purpose, or your power, it is time to recognize this is not merely a challenging relationship. It is a path of profound energetic misalignment. You do not need to confront them, to change them, or to mend them. Your journey is simply to gently step away and reclaim the river of your own energy. Your deepest self already knows what your mind may struggle to accept. Not all who gather around you are nurturing your inner garden. Some are quietly drawing from its roots. Protect your inner sanctuary. Tend to your life force. Your entire journey depends upon it. They can subtly distort the flow of truth, dividing you with the quiet skill of a stone that creates endless ripples, disturbing the once calm water of your connections. These energies do not operate through direct falsehoods, which are often too clear to see. Instead, they bend reality just enough to plant a seed of doubt in your mind and a whisper of uncertainty in your heart. They work with partial truths, words taken out of their stream, and emotionally colored narratives that cast a subtle shadow on others, all while they stand as the calm observer or the caring friend. Their tool is insinuation. I hesitate to say anything, but Or perhaps it is wise to be cautious. Their path seems unclear. These are small currents designed to erode your trust, to create distance between you and those who truly nourish your spirit, and to make them the central point of your emotional landscape. And as you begin to drift from those who protect your inner quiet, you become more open to influence, more dependent, and easier to sway. This is how disruptive patterns function, not through open storms, but through quiet mists of confusion. They stir the waters just enough to cause an emotional reaction, then step back as the disturbance unfolds, appearing to be separate from it. They understand that if they can shift the ground you stand on, your network of support, your trusted circle, your clarity, they can begin to shape your view of the world. You may start to question the motives of kind hearts, to accept illusions over felt truths, and to slowly adopt their narrative as your own. This is a silent battle for your perception, fought in the space of conversation. And the most challenging aspect: the people carrying these energies often seem incredibly devoted, even loving. They assure you they are on your side, simply being truthful or honest. But their true function is to introduce a subtle poison into the soil of your relationships. You may find yourself wondering why you feel more guarded, why connections that once felt solid now seem fragile, and why your world carries more weight, until you trace the ripples back to the single stone that always seems to be at the center of every broken reflection. That is not by chance. It is a calculated disturbance. Shadow energies do not always shout. They whisper, they obscure, they charm, and they separate. When a presence consistently brings separation, but never unity, constantly points to the weeds in other gardens, but never their own, understand this: they are not trying to shield you. They are trying to enclose you. And once you are isolated, your energy becomes theirs. Become aware. Protect the clear waters of your connections. And most of all, guard your mind from the deceptions that come dressed as gentle guidance. They find resonance with your shadows, not your light. And if you are not deeply aware, you may mistake this resonance for genuine care. These are the energies that draw near when you feel broken, but recede into silence when you begin to mend. They are present to offer solace when you have lost your footing, when your heart is heavy, when your path forward seems lost in fog. But the moment you start to rise, to find your clarity, to walk with a centered gait, the energy around you shifts. Suddenly, there is a distance, a coolness, a dismissal, or even a subtle resistance. Why is this so? Because your strength challenges their own unresolved state. Your power shines a light on their own lack of inner peace. For as long as you are navigating a struggle, they feel relevant, necessary, perhaps even a sense of purpose. But when you stand in your own strength, they feel diminished. Thus, they are more comfortable with you, in a state of seeking, not a state of finding, in a state of questioning, not a state of knowing. And that is the profound truth. The connection is not to you, but to a version of you that allows them to feel more at ease with themselves. They connect to the part of you that is healing, because it does not ask them to heal themselves. They resonate with the version of you that questions your own worth, that looks outside for validation, that remains in a cycle of emotional need. But when you begin to honor your own space, to prioritize your inner journey, to dream with more expanse, and to step into your purpose, their unease becomes palpable. They may veil their discomfort in humor, gently mocking your aspirations, calling your growth a temporary phase, or framing your dreams as beyond reach. They will offer phrases like, "Do not lose sight of where you began," not as a reminder of humility, but as a subtle pull to shrink back to a space where they feel comfortable. Deep down, they do not wish to see you flourish unless their own position remains unchallenged. And this is how you know you are dealing with a disruptive pattern, not just a person. A pattern that is unsettled by light, that draws on insecurity, and that finds comfort in stagnation, so long as it keeps you connected to them. It is wise to observe how people respond not to your pain, but to your healing. Any energy that feels more aligned with your weakness than your growth is not a true companion on your path. It is a spiritual anchor. A shadow will not always try to extinguish your light with anger. Sometimes it will do so with comfort. But comfort that keeps you small is not love, it is control. Cease confusing pity with loyalty. Pay attention to who nurtures your power, not just your pain. Because true companionship does not fear your strength, it draws inspiration from it. They repeatedly cross your boundaries, not from a lack of understanding, but from a belief that the lines you draw for your well-being do not apply to them. These are the individuals who perceive your no as the beginning of a discussion. You ask for solitude, and they fill the space. You express a need for rest, and they present a demand for your time. You establish a limit, and they view it as an obstacle to overcome. This is not a failure to communicate, it is a spiritual disregard. When someone consistently ignores the lines you have drawn to protect your inner peace, your time, and your energy, they reveal a profound truth. They do not honor your sovereignty. They value their access to you. And access without respect is a form of subtle consumption. These individuals often move with an energy of entitlement. They feel they are owed your time, your presence, your focus, and your emotional capacity. Even when you have clearly stated that your well is running low, they frame their intrusions as care or concern. But at its center, it is about maintaining a connection that serves them. Your boundaries are a threat to those who seek influence over you. They cannot sway what they cannot reach. And so they push, gently at first, testing your resolve, anticipating that you will yield as you may have before. They may use guilt to make you question your own right to protect your inner world. You might hear, "You feel different now," or "You are creating distance," when in truth, you have simply stopped allowing them to draw from your energy without your consent. And that is the nature of boundaries. They do not just protect your peace, they reveal who never respected it to begin with. Anyone who meets your limits with frustration, passive resistance, or emotional withdrawal is showing you that their bond to you was based on convenience, not on mutual reverence. When you try to stand on your own spiritual and emotional ground, they feel a personal slight because, in their world, your availability is a measure of your worth to them. But hold this truth in your heart: you owe no one unrestricted passage into your life, especially those who walk across your spirit just to fulfill their own needs. A disruptive energy does not always arrive with force. Sometimes it comes with persistence. It wears you down not with aggression, but with a slow, constant erosion of your boundaries, until you feel you have no strength left to say no. But your inner peace is your sanctuary. Your time is a finite gift. Your presence is a privilege, not a given. Begin to treat your boundaries as the sacred gates to your inner temple, because not everyone is meant to enter. And those who try to force their way in are not pilgrims. They are intruders. Guard your gates. They mirror your light, then use it to turn others against you. This is a deliberate pattern, veiled in admiration, but rooted in a desire to disrupt. These are the individuals who study you, your words, your practices, your unique way of being, your essence, all the details that make you who you are. They begin to reflect it back so accurately that, for a time, it feels like deep kinship. They adopt your expressions, echo your insights, and share ideas that sound like they came from your own heart. You may think, we are so much alike. But what is unfolding is something more complex. They are wearing your way of being like a garment. This is not to honor you, but to understand your light so they may one day claim it. And in doing so, diminish you. It begins subtly. They repeat your phrases. They reflect your perspective. They create things that carry your unique signature. And while you are still seeing this as connection, they are already working in the shadows, whispering doubts to others, casting subtle questions on your character, your motives, your authenticity. They might say, "I'm not sure they are as centered as they seem," or "there has been a change in them." The genuineness is gone, slowly seeding disharmony in the relationships that once supported you. And the most profound twist, They use the version of you they have mirrored as the standard, positioning themselves as the true reflection while framing you as the imitation. This goes beyond simple discord. It is a theft of essence with a spiritual aim. These are not merely insecure people seeking a role model. They are vessels for an energy that is drawn to your light but has no source of its own. This energy imitates because it cannot create. It takes because it has no true center. And when it senses it cannot outshine you through its own nature, it attempts to obscure you through sabotage. You may notice people around you begin to act differently, to pull away, to hold beliefs about you that do not align with your truth, and you will wonder how this came to be. The answer is that someone has turned your own essence into a tool to cast a shadow on your name. This is a quiet warfare of perception, wrapped in the guise of false kinship. It is not just a challenging person, it is a parasitic energy that uses your own radiance to construct its identity, only to then turn that borrowed light against you. If you have ever felt a profound sense of confusion about how others perceive you, this may be a dynamic worth exploring. To navigate this, you must simply stand even more firmly in who you are. Remain rooted in your own truth and allow the imitation to reveal itself over time, for no reflection can hold its form forever in the presence of the authentic source. Protect your own essence as if your journey depends on it, for on a spiritual level, it does. If this exploration of unseen energies is resonating with your own journey, perhaps you will consider subscribing to this channel. Think of it not just as a click, but as a small commitment to walk this path of awareness together. By joining our community, you create a space for more of these conversations to unfold. Your presence helps this light reach others who may also be seeking clarity. We welcome you. They use your compassion as a leash, not love, not respect, but guilt. A spiritual tether crafted from emotional manipulation, designed to keep you bound to them long after the season of your connection has passed. For these individuals, the health or balance of the connection is not the point. The only thing that matters is that you remain close enough for them to continue drawing from you your time, your energy, your loyalty, and when they feel you awakening, stepping back, creating space, or beginning to heal, they do not offer to meet you in growth. They invoke guilt. They will remind you of past moments, of all they have given, of how much they rely on you, or how lost they would be if you were to move on. You might hear, "So, you are just going to walk away now?" Or, "After all we have shared." Knowing these words touch upon your most tender quality, your capacity for empathy. They transform your kindness into a chain, convincing you that to leave them is an act of betrayal, even when staying with them is an act of self-betrayal. And you feel anchored, not by love, but by the fear of being seen as uncaring. But understand this truth: guilt is not a signal of love. It is a tool of control, used by those who benefit from your stillness and your self-denial. A disruptive energy will never say, "I honor your path," but it will always ask, "How could you do this to me?" These patterns attach themselves to your sense of responsibility and use it to drain your spirit, drop by drop, until you are exhausted from trying to carry what was never yours. They do not seek healing. They seek proximity. They do not want partnership. They want possession. They know that as long as you feel responsible for their pain, you will remain, even when it is dissolving you spiritually. But true connection does not use guilt as currency. A genuine bond empowers, uplifts, and liberates. Guilt binds you to people who resist their own journey, who see your evolution as a threat to their stability. It is not your purpose to remain small so that they may feel comfortable. It is not your duty to sacrifice your own peace to uphold a false sense of allegiance. You are not a savior, and their path is not yours to walk for them. This emotional blackmail is a form of spiritual harm in disguise, and the moment you recognize it, a choice appears: remain in the cage they have built with your own empathy, or step into the freedom of your own soul. You do not owe indefinite access to those who only appear when you feel too responsible to walk away. Release the guilt and give yourself permission to grow. They awaken a deep, unexplainable unease within you. Not through their words, but through what your spirit senses beneath their surface. You can be sharing the same quiet space, and your heart may begin to beat faster. Your center feels tight, your thoughts become scattered, and you cannot find a clear reason because nothing overt is happening. They may be smiling, speaking calmly, acting with normality, but your soul registers a disturbance. This is not unfounded fear. This is your spiritual intuition at work. Your body is responding to an unseen vibration, an energy that disrupts your own field and activates your nervous system without a visible cause. This kind of inner turmoil is not born from conflict. It is born from a misalignment with an energy that is heavy, veiled, or depleting. You might try to dismiss it, to blame yourself for it, to label it as just being in your head. But your body holds a wisdom that transcends logic. It knows when it is in the presence of a disruptive spiritual force, even before your conscious mind has processed it. These individuals often carry a dense, chaotic energy, concealed by a familiar or charming exterior. They say what is expected, but their aura silently communicates unrest, envy, resentment, or a need for control. And you can feel this even if you cannot name it. They might even cause you to question your own worth, without a single critical word. You may leave an interaction second, guessing your own heart, rethinking your decisions, or feeling as though your inner light has been dimmed. And that is the signal that they have not just interacted with your mind, they have disturbed your spirit. This deep unease is often the very first sign that you are in the presence of an energy that is not for you. And if each time you are near them, you feel diminished, more confused, less centered, that is not a nurturing connection. It is a profound spiritual warning. These are the individuals who appear well-intentioned, but they carry unresolved shadows that cling to them and look for resonance in you. When you feel this form of anxiety, do not ignore it. Inquire within. Who are you with? What shifts in your inner landscape when they speak, when they look at you, when they simply share your space? Peace does not lie, and neither does inner tension. Sometimes, what you feel as anxiety is not a disorder. It is a message. It is your spirit communicating. This space is not safe for you. And when your spirit speaks, you must learn to listen. Because protecting your inner peace is not an indulgence. It is a necessary practice for your journey. Never feel the need to apologize for moving away from what your soul knows to be out of harmony, even when nothing on the surface seems broken. The unseen world speaks a language all its own. They find a subtle satisfaction in your tears and grow quiet with your joy, because your pain seems to validate them, and your progress makes them feel left behind. These are the energies that flow through those who call themselves your allies, your family. But the truth is, they are only truly at ease when you are in a place of need. When you are feeling lost, they seem engaged, even interested. They may not show overt pleasure, but there is a subtle energy of vindication, a quiet sense of rightness they feel in your struggle, as if your brokenness confirms their own worldview. They offer surface level comfort, but no real path to healing. But then, let the seasons of your life change. Let healing flow into you. Let your inner light begin to shine brightly again. Let new doors open on your path, and suddenly, they become distant, silent, even critical. Their support withdraws, they minimize your accomplishments, or they find ways to make your success about themselves. You will begin to hear things like, "You've changed," or "Don't lose your grounding." Or worse, they will attempt to reframe your joy as something unearned to make themselves feel more centered. These are not just envious people. They are spiritual counterweights, dressed in the clothes of familiarity. Your growth shines a light on their own stillness. Your radiance makes their own shadows feel uncomfortable. The issue is not that you are becoming too much. It is that you are doing what they have not yet found the courage or the discipline to do for themselves. Deep down, they do not resent you. They resent what you represent: the possibility of growth, of healing, and a potential that refuses to remain dormant. When you are in sorrow, they do not offer a hand to lift you up. They observe because your pain does not challenge them. But when you rise, when you shine, when you finally walk the path of your own worth, they feel a sense of loss for the version of you that made them feel necessary. That is not love. That is spiritual codependence. These energies were never meant to accompany you into your becoming. Their purpose was only to test whether you would remain tethered to keep them company. And once you outgrow the role that served their ego, they do not mourn your absence. They mourn their loss of influence. Pay attention to who claps when you succeed and who quietly fades away. True companionship does not take pleasure in your pain or shrink from your progress. It celebrates your healing and stands with dignity beside your light, not in its shadow. Allow those who cannot bear your radiance to remain in the shade where they feel most comfortable. They are unsettled by the name of truth, of stillness, of a higher source. Not always with their words, but with their reactions, with their discomfort, with a quiet resistance that intensifies whenever a sense of sacredness enters the space. These are the individuals who seem perfectly at ease until you begin to speak from a place of deep knowing, until you mention the path, until your words carry a certain resonance that illuminates what they have kept hidden in shadow. They may subtly dismiss discussions of purpose, feel restless during moments of quiet reflection, and grow uneasy when the conversation turns toward inner work or growth. This is not because they fail to understand it, but because the spirit within them feels disharmony with it. The light that you carry reveals the darkness they have become accustomed to. It makes them feel unsettled, exposed in ways they have tried to avoid. They may say things like, "Don't be so deep," or "Not everything needs to be a lesson," because for them, such ideas are not a comfort, they are a confrontation. Truth is a disturbance to a life built on illusion. Stillness is a disruption to those who thrive in chaos. You will notice they become agitated when you speak with inner authority. They shift the topic, use sarcasm, or suggest you are being too serious or self-important, when in truth, they simply cannot bear the reflection of their own inner state in the clarity of yours. The presence of your own alignment applies a gentle pressure to the unresolved shadows within them. And so they push back, not always with overt resistance, but with avoidance, with gentle mocking, with subtle remarks designed to silence the truth in your spirit. They do not seek transformation. They seek comfort in the familiar. They do not want to evolve. They want acceptance of their patterns, their attachments, their unconscious inner world. But when a moment of pure truth is spoken, when a sense of the sacred enters the atmosphere, when the space shifts into one of clarity, they recoil. They may hide it with humor, with intellectual arguments, with a pretense of open-mindedness, but on an energetic level, there is a pulling back. Because truth does not need to argue. It simply illuminates. And what you are witnessing is not just a difference of opinion. It is an energy that knows it cannot thrive in the presence of genuine light. Pay attention to who pulls away as your own path becomes clearer. Notice who dismisses the moments you touch the divine. Their reaction is not random, it is spiritual. The shadows are allergic to the sun, and any presence that resents truth, that flees from stillness, that cannot bear the presence of light, is already navigating a deep inner darkness they have chosen to call their world. Walk your path with courage anyway. Speak your truth anyway. The sun does not need permission to shine. It simply does. They always leave you standing further from your true self. This doesn't happen in an instant or in an obvious way, but through a slow, quiet erosion of your identity, your confidence, and your inner connection. These are the people whose presence feels like intimacy, but whose function is to slowly dismantle the foundation of who you are, until you start to question your intuition, quiet your own voice, and make yourself smaller in their presence. With every interaction, you walk away feeling a little more confused, a bit more depleted, slightly more disconnected from your own knowing. They don't just consume your energy, they distort your very reflection of yourself. Initially, it may seem like simple influence. Their views begin to shape yours, Their desires begin to eclipse your own. But after a time, you recognize that you are not evolving into a stronger version of yourself, but transforming into someone more convenient for them, someone easier for them to understand or accept, and it is never for your own highest good. Your own aspirations seem less important. Your values become more flexible. Your voice grows quieter. They plant seeds of doubt about your own journey, your worth, your vision, all while appearing to be on your side. They call it being realistic or just looking out for you. But the real effect is to pull you further from the inner compass that once guided you with such clarity. These people carry a pattern that thrives in disorientation. They subtly teach you that your authentic nature is too much, too perceptive, too driven, too deep, until you find yourself editing your own soul just to keep the peace. But that is not peace, it is suppression, and the price you pay is immense. Because the longer you are connected to energies that subtract from your core essence, the more difficult it is to recognize yourself in the mirror. You find yourself asking for permission to be the person you already are. This is how a shadow works. It doesn't always defeat you with a loud battle. Sometimes it simply suffocates you with a slow disconnection from your own spirit. It makes you forget your own voice, your own power, your own fire. And if you try to reclaim it, they will say you are being distant, cold, or that you have changed. But your growth is not a betrayal, and returning to yourself is not an act of abandonment. It is an act of resurrection. Pay attention to who leaves you feeling adrift, who makes you question the things you once held with certainty. The people who are meant for your journey will always call you back to yourself, not lead you away from it. They will be like rain for your soul, not a drain on your wellspring. So if someone consistently leaves you emptier than when they arrived, understand this truth: they are not lost. They are committed to keeping you from being found. It is time to return home to your own heart. Reclaim your essence. Realign with your truth. And allow anyone who cannot honor that to drift away with the illusions they tried to build around you. This journey of self-awareness and reclaiming your energy is a profound commitment to your own path. If you feel called to continue this exploration, to deepen your practice of protecting your inner peace, consider subscribing. It is a gesture of dedication to your own growth and helps ensure these teachings can continue to reach all who seek them. Let us walk this path together.